You're listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. You can follow along in your book. You'll know it's time to turn the page when you hear the chimes ring like this.
You know, if I could just get past this first lift, the rest would be a breeze. I know it. I'm telling you, Charles. Charles? Charles.
Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Wait 1 second. I think I'm onto something here. This is pure snow. It's everywhere. Have you any idea what the street value of this mountain is?
Charles.
Wait a minute, hold it. Outrageous. I think I froze the left half of my brain. Look, I can't move my right arm.
Just one bottle rocket.
That's it?
That's it.
That's the mood.
I'm going flip mode on you. That is the second movie that we've repeated on the Awkward High Five podcast.
Yeah,
so far.
I thought so.
Do you know what the first one is?
Yes. Wayne's World 2.
Nope.
No?
Wait.
Oh, no, we did Wayne's World 1.
Wayne's
and
World 1
2.
and Wayne's World 2. No?
Then I don't know. That's the only one I remember.
It was over Christmas. Because I overshot the amount of Christmas movies that I thought were funny.
Griswold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice. We've only been doing this for 3 months and we're already using.
But you didn't play Catch It in a Coat, Whack With a Hammer. That's the one I was hoping for.
The reason number one, Better Off Dead, I love. It's a great film. And a film from our youth that we watched a million times. But also, it was the only funny clip from a movie that I liked that I could think that had to do with snow, and I felt obliged.
Oh yeah.
With this storm that's coming through.
I forgot about that. Fuck.
Welcome to the Awkward High Five podcast. My name is Devin.
And Rich.
And we're sitting here on the cusp of a giant storm that's going to kill all of our relatives and bury our animals. Mm-hmm. And
make us buy a lot of bread.
And make us have to dig tunnels through giant hills of snow. And basically become what I'm guessing DiCaprio's like in The Revenant. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just guessing.
And its name is Jonas.
Oh yes, that's a joke that everyone's enjoying this week.
Yeah, but they're using the Jonas Brothers as it.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, they're not using a Weezer. Why, you saw a Weezer one?
Yeah, I saw a lot of Weezer ones. Well, the people that I'm friends with on Facebook really aren't, I don't think for the most part, are the Jonas Brothers demographic. They're more the Weezer demographic.
They're using the Weezer?
Yeah, know, it's all cute. Everyone's got their jokes. Mm-hmm. I made a really bad Edward Snowden joke on Facebook.
And you got the tombstone.
It was a tombstone.
What was the joke?
It's never good when you have to repeat your jokes.
But I didn't hear it.
I said, I hope I get so snowed in tomorrow that I start leaking NSA documents. And then I said, seriously, folks, it's going to snow.
I don't get it.
Exactly. It's a bad joke.
Okay.
It's meant to be a bad joke.
Then you get
Wait,
the
how do you not
song.
get it, though? Edward Snowden is the person who released all those.
Oh, Edward Snowden.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the humor that I put out there into the world, RTJ.
You got to think about it.
That's my humor.
Mm-hmm. Yours you got to think about. Mine are more of like a time bomb. You don't laugh. You're like, damn, that sucked. Then you go home. You're sitting by yourself. You're just sitting there thinking. You remember the joke, and you chuckle.
The jokes that I like to put out into the world are the kind of jokes that you don't laugh at first. Then you go home, and you think about them for a little bit. And then you go, oh. And then you go, yeah, that's still not funny, though. That's my kind of humor. That's what I like to put out there.
Delayed tombstone.
As anybody who listens to this fine podcast probably knows. Yeah, so we're sitting here in central New Jersey waiting for the snow to come plowing on in, and
waiting for either 2 feet or 3 inches.
Hopefully you got your bread and your eggs and your milk and your water and your whatever else fucking else you need. Flashlights, then
batteries.
Charge all your fucking devices and whatever the fuck's going on. I don't know. And then what's gonna happen is it's going to snow, and then it's going to turn to rain, and it's not going to be a big fucking deal.
We're going to get a regular snowfall.
Because since it's been a warm winter so far, this is the first time that the news outlets and the supermarkets and everything finally, was able to get their claws in it. So they're freaking out like, this is going to be horrible. Your grandmother, she's going to die during this. Say goodbye to your fucking grandmother. If you don't go buy milk and all that shit, everyone's going to die. And the crazy thing is Washington, D.C. is already under ice, I suppose. And, that's I consider D.C. a East Coast fucking
for sure.
I just was going to call it a village. I believe it's more than that, a city. And they don't know how to control in Washington D.C. when it snows, everybody just starts dying. They start just careening off of roads and just it's the craziest thing in the world.
What, they don't have their own plow system? They wait for Maryland to come through?
I guess. I have no idea, but it's always a panic, whenever, and so that's what's going on in the fine state, or I'm sorry, what is it? Providence? What do they call DC?
A district.
The District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. So I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I hope everybody's listening to this. You're probably listening to this over the weekend when you're snowed in. And I hope you're safe. I hope your family's safe. I hope you have enough provisions to last the probably 24 hours or whatever it's going to be. But the fact that people still get freaked out over snow when you live in the Northeast doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And here's the thing that I've been seeing. I've been watching the news cycle, just because it's pure entertainment, just to see these people try to make something out of nothing. And the new thing that they're putting out there now, and I heard it. I saw a couple articles that talked about it, and then I saw a couple newscasts where the talking heads were kind of doing some witty banter about it. What witty banter?
That's the
witty
worst.
Banter about it.
I hate when newscasters try and get funny.
Well, here's the thing: is they're saying if there's a giant snowstorm, do you feel good about ordering takeout? And that's the fucking.
Hell yeah! That's the first thing I do.
See, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that around
tip
here.
Proper, though.
Yeah, but I mean, but I'm saying, is that big of a fucking deal? That's all they have to talk about this show is are you going to order Chinese food tonight?
I think I'm nothing else.
Fucking newscasters.
But we got a lot to get into today, Dev. I got a nice little list here.
I'm sorry. I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. What happened, just so I could tell the fine listeners at home, just so they know, is that...
Take down the wall, baby.
Yes, the fourth wall's coming down right now.
I love it.
Is I went out and I bought a nice, giant, huge bottle of wine so I could have it tomorrow, just in case we do get snowed in. And in waiting for you to come over to do this podcast, I just started plowing through it. And so now I'm wine drunk.
Do you remember that 5-liter bottle of wine that I used to have at college?
5 liter now.
It was one of those novelty, gigando bottles of wine.
The champagne or something
and
like that?
we drank it for a whole semester.
I do not remember that. There's probably a reason I don't remember it is because I drank a 5-gallon bottle of wine.
And then it started getting stale at the end and it got you really fucked up.
Yeah, because red wine just turns into fucking vinegar if you leave it open long enough.
It was good though.
So yeah, take the reins, RTG. Pull us in. Let's do something interesting.
Yeah, because I got some things to get off my chest here.
Yeah, it seems that
I like to research the conspiracy theories in life to see if they hold any water and make my own decisions about it. Like we talked about JFK a little bit last episode, and I couldn't get out who I thought killed JFK. It was Carlos Marcello.
Carlos Marcello, you son of a bitch. Is he alive still?
No, he's dead. But I think all JFK's killers have expired. That's about. I don't think they could get much older unless they live into their 90s. But they were all chain smokers anyway, so they're all dead.
Well, JFK blown away. What else do you have to say?
Yeah, it was. It was the mobsters. It was like I said, Traficante and Marcello and who was the other guy? Was it Giancola? It was those three guys. It had something to do with Jimmy Hoffa with the Teamsters. They all wanted the Kennedy brothers dead because they were coming down on organized crime.
Okay.
And the unions too. It was mostly Bobby Kennedy, but they just wanted the Kennedys outs.
Okay.
So they're the ones that did the killing. But in my conspiracy theory research...
You better hope they're all dead, my friend, because you're putting this out there on a podcast that 150 people listen to.
Yeah.
They're coming after you.
That's all right. Because I think from all the people posting it online, I'm the last person they'll come after.
Okay. You never know.
But in my conspiracy theory research, I started researching the Kurt and Courtney conspiracy.
Oh, here we go.
Now, I'm a believer that she killed Kurt.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw her face and now you're a believer?
Yes. And, as fucked up as Kurt was, I know the dude was fucked up and...
Well, wait. Okay. So fucked up how? Fucked up on dope is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, he was fucked up on dope, but I read his biography story, and he wasn't exactly a normal person growing up. He had a lot of problems.
Yeah, sure. You can tell that.
Yeah.
He was the dude, I could deduce by looking at Kurt Cobain and reading all the things and everything, that he was like that kid. You know who he was? And this isn't going to mean anything to anybody at home, but he was that kid Jimmy that used to live behind you in the trailer park.
Yes, he was.
He like a fucking like little wiry kid that nobody liked, that maybe tortured cats and shit and just fucking acted really weird. Of course, yes, totally.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of Kurt's disturbance comes from when he was a kid. He was forced into a sexual act with a girl with Down syndrome.
Okay, here's the thing, though. If you watch that documentary, the one that was on HBO this past summer, which I watched, and
they don't go into that stuff.
Oh yeah, they tell that whole story.
Really?
They animate that story.
Really?
Yeah. And here's the thing. I watched that, and I thought the same thing. And I thought like, oh, this is crazy. Number one, no, he wasn't forced. He just wanted to lose his virginity, and he said he went over to this girl's house, tried to fuck her, but her vagina stunk so bad that he couldn't do it, and then all his friends at school started calling him a retard fucker. But what King Buzz Osborne from the Melvins, who went to high school and even before that with Kurt and Chris, he came out and said after that documentary came out, which why am I spacing on the name of that documentary right now?
Was it Soaked in Bleach?
No, Soaked in Bleach is the conspiracy
Montage
one.
of Heck?
Montage of Heck. Yeah. He came out and said that never happened.
Really?
Yeah. So who knows what's right or what's wrong. But yeah, go ahead.
He seemed like a disturbed kid, but according to all his close friends, he wasn't suicidal at all. Mm-hmm. He wasn't suicidal. And I read up on a lot of Courtney's actions throughout his whole disappearance the week before he killed himself and all that stuff. There's so much sketchy stuff. You could look it up on CobainCase.com. There's so much sketchy shit that went on.
Well, expand. For
I
the
could go
audience.
into 3 podcasts about it. But basically, she hid out in L.A. and said she had so much business to do. And when her business agent was asked what business she has, she had nothing going on. So she basically hid out in this hotel to plan his assassination. Was having this private investor investigate him, but she had him running in circles around what she had planned and she had a plan going on with the guy that lived in the house. They called him Callie, and they were lying to him. So much sketchy shit. I could go on forever. I'm trying to think of a short way to put it, but there really is none. Basically, a lot of sketchy shit happened. And if you saw the documentary, Kurt and Courtney. I forget the guy who does the interviewing, but he goes over this guy El Duce's house. This dude was
the old pitcher for the Yankees.
No, the singer of the band. What the fuck are they called? I don't know. They call it rape rock. They're psychopaths. He's a fucking psycho.
Wait, there's a band that they call their type of music rape rock?
Yeah. So they go over this dude El Duce's house to ask him. And he straight up says, Courtney offered me $50,000 to kill Kurt.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in the background, you hear a woman screaming for her fucking life. And this dude looks like he shit his pants. Like, the second you hear her screaming.
And this is on a documentary someplace?
On a documentary.
Because let me just say this up front, is that I did not watch Kurt and Courtney. I did not watch Soaked in Bleach. And the reason why is not because I'm totally dismissing the fact that there can be some conspiracy there, but it's such a traumatic thing that happened to somebody that I was so into when I was a younger person that I almost avoid all of it, like the 9/11 conspiracies. Or even, you know what's a good analogy would be when the news every September 11th, you're just force fed the images of those planes hitting the building. I don't watch the news that day because I just don't want to relive it.
Right.
So the reason I don't watch these things is because the same thing. I'm just like, I don't want to have to go through this guy blowing his head off again. Yeah, I just don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. You know. So all these things that you're telling me are fresh because I haven't watched any of these conspiracy documentaries.
Well, what happens with this El Duce dude is he says that Courtney offered him 50 G's to do it. He turned it down, but he supposedly steered her in the direction of someone who would. And this was witnessed by other people that came forward and said that it's true. They gave these dudes a polygraph test, and they passed with flying colors.
So they passed. They were saying that this did happen, and the polygraph test proved that was true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this dude El Duce in the interview slipped and said, "I didn't do it, but I know who did." And Alan, and he slips and says the name Alan. Then he goes, "I'll let the FBI find him." 3 days after that interview, El Duce was hit by a train. The last person he was seen with was this dude, Alan Wrench, who they left to get booze. And
Is that his birth name?
I don't think so. Because when I looked him up, I couldn't find anything except actual tools.
What a fucking creative punk rock name. My name will be Alan Wrench.
And it's not even like a
And our drummer, Philip Head.
Yeah, it's not like a claw hammer or a fucking
Yeah,
hacksaw.
right, exactly.
It's a little Allen wrench.
Or a fucking nail gun or something cool. An Allen Wrench.
An Allen wrench.
You know, I'm gonna make my band name something that you get from IKEA when you buy furniture.
Yeah, for free, taped to the back of the furniture. But he was in El Duce's band, and he was supposedly a psycho that, you know, has killed people before. Was last seen with El Duce 3 days, you know, when he left, and then El Duce was hit by a train. Supposedly, Alan Wrench, you know, they got into a fight before they left because El Duce mentioned his name in the documentary.
And Alan threw a wrench into the situation.
Yeah, he was a monkey in the wrench.
Uh-huh. That's why Dave Grohl wrote that song Monkey Wrench. It's about Alan Wrench.
He wanted to name it Alan Wrench, and it was some copyright.
I wanna be your Alan Wrench. Okay, go ahead. This is all coming together now.
It is, I'm sure.
That's why Courtney hates Dave Grohl so much, because he wrote Alan Wrench about the whole conspiracy.
But supposedly, Alan Wrench, you know, he was poor as fuck. After
Really?
Kurt died.
A guy, Alan Wrench, that murders people is poor as fuck?
Yeah, but a week after
Lost
Kurt
some money
died,
on that bet.
they saw him driving a new vet. He moved into a new house. He was like walking around with fur coats on and shit. So, I don't know.
He was wearing a Man on the Moon swag t-shirt with a pretty on the inside hat.
I'm a firm believer. I'm a believer in the Alan Wrench conspiracy.
Okay, I get it. So what you're saying to the people at home right now is that you, RTG, in addition to solving the JFK murder, have now solved the Kurt Cobain,
Yep.
and you're calling it a murder, and it was a guy named Alan Wrench, who then, in a Clue-like fashion, then killed El Duce at the train station with the oncoming train. Okay, I'll take it. I'll believe it.
If you think about it, Kurt and Courtney were in the midst of a divorce.
Were they?
Yes.
Well, I have heard that. I have heard that was... I think that is pretty much truth at this point, as far as I could tell.
Yes, they
Again, we're all speculating. We're speculating on all of this, but
that's what their closest friends say.
Right.
And that's the best source.
Okay.
So when they're in the midst of a divorce, we know how psycho, and you firsthand know how psycho that bitch is.
Yes,
And
I saw the videos.
Through a divorce, what would she get? Half of Kurt's assets. Okay.
Right.
By Kurt killing himself, she gets everything.
It's very true.
And we know that Courtney was such a gold digging whore. She would fuck anyone. You know, she got with Kurt because he was the rock star at the time.
Right.
That's why when Kurt died, she started fucking Billy Corgan, and that's why she started fucking Michael Stipe. All because they were at the top of their game at the time. And even before Kurt, she was fucking dudes in rock bands. She was like a Nancy Spungen type. You know?
Well, that is definitely the opinion on her. You know, that's for sure. Right?
Yeah. So by Kurt killing himself, she gets everything. She
Okay.
gets the rights to Nirvana, and she did. She got all that shit.
Right.
You know, mission complete.
Okay.
So I am a firm believer in Courtney now being the killer. Of
Well,
Kurt.
I'll tell you what, man, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that have told me over and over again to watch that, because I guess that Soaked in Bleach documentary is now on Netflix, so it hit a bunch of people at the same time, and kind of Making a Murderer style. People have been watching it all at the same time, and then, you know...
I haven't seen Soaked in Bleach. And Montage of Heck, I saw a little bit of it, but it doesn't compare to the book I have. The book is amazing.
Well, Montage of Heck has nothing to do with that. Montage of Heck is just kind of a
story of Kurt.
story of Kurt. And
Yeah.
it's actually very...
It's like the book I have, Cobain Unseen. It's the story of his life.
Whatever's true or not in that, whatever King Buzzo says and everything, as far as a documentary goes, it's a very interesting documentary about a very interesting person. I would recommend it to anybody. But like I said, I won't watch Soaked in Bleach because I don't.
What's Soaked in Bleach about? It's about the murder?
It's the same thing. As far as I know, it's them talking to the police that were involved, the private investigator. Okay. It's basically a conspiracy theory blaming Courtney, which killing, which has come up. That has come up since the day Kurt died.
Yeah, and I never believed it. I never believed it.
Yeah,
but I guess my adult self does, because it makes a lot of sense.
Okay, my thing.
It's one glass away from her feeding him Gatorade.
Yes, which I've thought about recently. Okay, but you know what? The thing with conspiracy theories is that how on such a high level like that, it's so hard that could actually be true. And I'm just playing devil's advocate here. I don't know, But like, you don't think that there's like a couple people involved in that would have been like had some proof or something? Like the fucking drummer of Hole would have been like, oh yeah, fucking Courtney got all fucked up on heroin and told us he was going to kill Kurt or something. You know, like
a lot of people are saying that.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people are saying that.
So if that's the case, then why isn't this being re-looked into? Is the thing?
Supposedly it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
It's in the process of it. That's what got, because I heard that. And after I heard that, then that's when I first started actually checking it out. So I spent a good few hours researching shit. And like I do, I cracked the case.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm going to say in the few months that we've been doing the Awkward Hi-Fi podcast, we have now solved the JFK assassination, the Kurt Cobain suicide/murder. What else? What else you got?
I don't know.
No, I'm saying like fucking like court style. What else can you solve? You want to go fucking pick up the Avery thing? See what we can do about that? Because you're in on.
I'm starting to think he did it.
Yeah. Well, look, a lot of people have been emailing me about that. And here's my. Are we really going to talk about making a murder again?
If you want.
No, I'm just going to say this real quick.
'Cause I got something else to get into here.
No, that's what I want to say about making a murderer. Is this. So everybody that I've been emailing back and forth with, again, I appreciate your emails and it's fucking great. And it's just fun to like, you know, whatever, talk about it. But everybody comes at me with the thing of, you think that he's innocent, but that's not true. Like, I don't think that he's innocent. I don't know if he's innocent. And I 100% think that he's a fucking scumbag. This isn't a guy I want to go hang out with. However, you know, blah blah blah. We could go on forever. However, the you know, planning the evidence and all, yeah, right. So that's the whole thing. Like, it feels like people can't separate that thing. Like everyone puts their emotions in it, and they're like, "Well, you think he's like an innocent free guy?" And I'm like, no, he probably has murdered somebody. I don't fucking know. However, I don't believe that he did this one fucking crime. And if you're going to like set, like if you're going to meld everything together that way, that's not the way our justice system works. Anyway, making murder out. Go ahead. I'm going to drink this one Jim Morrison style in a bathtub while you talk about this shit.
I mean, that's basically it. Case solved. Alan Wrench.
Okay, Alan Wrench.
El Duce's dead. That's the number one witness in the whole thing. Besides a dude at a tattoo parlor who witnessed Courtney ask El Duce to kill Kurt.
You think she would be more back alley about it?
I mean, when you're all fucked up and
okay. Here's one question though. How do you explain the whole he's in France and drinks a bunch of alcohol with barbiturates and almost dies thing?
He told Dave Grohl that was an accident. He was just trying to get fucked up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. Everyone that gets high accidentally gets too fucked up.
That's true.
You know, he probably, think about it. He was probably in France, couldn't find dope, got his hands on roofies, and tried to get as fucked up as he did on dope. Because he was probably sick, withdrawn, and took whatever he could get to get fucked up.
Right.
And as any heroin addict knows, if you can't get your hands on any dope, you get Xanax. And when you get that Xanax, you try to take enough to fall asleep so you're not withdrawn off the dope.
Okay.
And that's probably what he did. And it was an accident. He accidentally OD'd. He wasn't trying to kill himself.
Okay.
Everyone says that, Kurt.
So do you think, in your professional opinion, in your professional case cracking opinion,
yes,
that because his now I'm using air quotes here, suicide came so soon after that, do you think that maybe she saw that as like a green light? Like, so it was like, okay, like a lot of people think that he just tried to kill himself, so now's the time to make him try to kill himself, you know, to make it all
could be, because that's when her ideas started flowing. Was during that, because when he was trying to tour and he decided he didn't want to tour anymore, OD'd, and then he turned down $9.5 million to headline Lollapalooza, and Courtney lost her shit. Was screaming at him to do Lollapalooza for his daughter. How you gonna pass up on that much money? Blah blah blah, all this shit. And the reason why he bought the shotgun that he supposedly killed himself with was because he thought that. Because a lot of people were losing money by him not headlining Lollapalooza, because everyone thought they were going to, and a lot of people were losing out on money on that. He feared for his life. So he got the shotgun as protection because he thought people were going to come after him.
Wow. These are wild allegations you're making.
These are not my own allegations.
No, I get it. I know.
These are from witnesses.
Right. These are wild allegations. Well, look, however it went down, it's definitely an interesting thing either way, you know? And the fact that this happened in 1994 and we're still talking about it now, it's interesting.
Because it's not solved. I mean, people are still talking about Biggie.
Right, and Tupac is the same way. You know, but at least with
it's like you said, it's always the person closest.
Right.
Suge Knight killed those motherfuckers.
Right. And I also believe that too.
Yeah. It's always the person close, because you're not going to get some random person. Hey, I could go kill Kurt Cobain. You know, who the fuck would think that?
Right.
It's someone closest. And I just want to dismiss the whole. Everyone says he had 3 times the lethal dose of heroin in him. How could he blow his head off with a shotgun? 3 times the lethal dose of someone who's never done heroin before. Not Kurt Cobain's lethal dose.
Right.
Okay. Kurt Cobain could shoot as much heroin as was found in him and still operate a shotgun. That's not a problem.
Because you build an immunity to it, is what I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only problem I see with that shotgun is you blow your head off with a shotgun, the shotgun's not going to be sitting in the same position as it was when you put it in your mouth.
Right.
That shotgun's going to blow across somewhere out of reach.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's not going to be sitting where you're, still holding,
And that's how they found it?
Pretty much,
you know
right.
way too much about it. Like, I don't know any of this because I think in like almost like shell shock PTSD style, I was just like, I don't want to know anything more about this. You know, I don't care what he looked like, because I remember after he died, the pictures came out and shit and all that stuff, and I was just like, I don't fucking care.
They never showed anything.
But yeah,
his leg.
Yeah, whatever. But I never looked at him because I was like, I just don't want to know about this. Like, this is already horrible. I just don't want to fucking know about it. So all this information that you're giving me right now, I honestly never heard. I never looked into it that far.
Yeah. And another thing was Kurt had one credit card that he used all the time, missing from his wallet after he was killed, and someone was trying to use it for like a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
this is big stuff.
You're going to make me watch this stupid fucking documentary now.
I have not seen this documentary.
Yeah.
This is all research, my friend.
This is all just you on the internet. You figured out how to use the internet, and then you
now
figured
I'm
this all
solving
out.
crimes.
All right.
I'm going to get hired by the FBI. Watch
That'd be nice. It'd be like a Catch Me If You Can thing where the fucking criminal becomes working for the FBI.
Oh, yeah. Watch it happen.
Creating watermarks for checks and stuff like that. All right.
So, it sucks. It's not gonna change anything. Even if someone comes out one day and arrests Courtney Love for the murder of Kurt Cobain, it's not going to change anything. But I just thought it was interesting.
She should get arrested just for passing off all those Kurt songs as an album.
Why,
Actually,
she put out unreleased songs?
No, just to fucking live through this. Which is also very weird. You put out an album like a day after your husband kills himself called Live Through This.
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. She feared that the divorce would kill the album sales because her album was coming out a week later or some shit. So she thought if she divorced Kurt, then there was going to be some problems with her album.
All right. That's very fucking weird.
It's a lot of stuff.
All right. Yeah,
a
look.
lot of big stuff.
I'm not dismissing any of this. I'm totally in on what you're saying, and I just don't know if I could bring myself to watch this fucking I don't know why. I just there's something about it. I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. Yeah, maybe I don't want that gate to be open where I think that that's a possibility. I just think that this guy was a disturbed heroin addict that shot his fucking his head off and just be done with it. To the fact that there's a possibility that this crazy fucking purple nippled wife fucking came out of nowhere, and it's too much. It's too much.
Sucks, right?
Yeah.
She's a psycho. She sucked.
That would be like finding out that like Freddie Mercury's boyfriend injected him with AIDS. You know what I mean? Or like, or like, you know what I mean? Like anybody who died prematurely, like somebody killed Jimi Hendrix or someone fed Mama Cass that sandwich or whatever it is. It's just like, let them die.
Supposedly, didn't someone walk in while Jimi Hendrix was ODing and choking on a sandwich and just walk out?
Choking on a sandwich?
Yeah. Like tuna?
All right. Jimi Hendrix didn't die eating a sandwich. No. I think the folklore, the urban legend is that he fell asleep on his back and choked on his own puke. Yeah. But I don't even know if that really happened. You know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah. So. Well, in more happier documentaries,
I'm sorry. I would just like imagining Jimi Hendrix even eating a sandwich is very weird. Like he's the type of person that you don't even imagine ever eating. Like he just through osmosis gets nutrition.
I can picture him eating sushi.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
In more happier documentaries, we have the resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh, yes. Jake the Snake.
Not one of my favorite wrestlers. Definitely was a wrestler around the time when I was super into wrestling. But apparently, Jake the Snake was big on The Rock.
On the crack rock.
Heavy on the crack rock.
Wait, you weren't upset when Earthquake sat on the snake?
I was super upset.
Yeah, well, then you like Jake the Snake then.
Yeah, well, I was more a fan of Damien.
You just like Damien
Yeah,
straight up?
just Damien. I always thought Jake was kind of goofy.
Who do you like better, Jake the Snake or Rick Rude? Because they were like the same person.
They pretty much were. And they had a good feud going on for a while.
They did.
there.
That's probably why. Vince McMahon was probably like, you guys look exactly the same, so just put each other's face on your tights.
I'm going to go with Jake.
Okay.
Yeah, Rick Rude kind of grossed me out.
So you're a Jake the Snake fan, whether you like it or not.
I guess so. That is a cool gimmick, though. You give someone the DDT and then throw a snake on them. That's pretty fucking cool.
I would like to get into a fight one last time in my life so I could just actually give somebody a DDT.
I think you're going to say put a snake on something.
No, I don't want to touch a snake. Remember that one time in the city when we were walking? I forget the whole story, but
that dude's snake around his neck and I wanted to touch it?
It wasn't a transvestite, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was a tranny. We were walking through the city and there was this giant tranny. This is how I remember it, so just deal with it.
Yeah, I was wasted.
And there was a giant tranny who was walking down the street with a snake around his neck, his or her neck or whatever. And you're fucking Richie wasted, like I can get the bear wasted, and fucking you walked up to her, and you're like, let me get a touch on that, and then gently stroke the snake.
I never touched a snake before.
Well, there you go. If you're gonna touch a snake, let it be a tranny snake.
But I'm excited about the Jake the Snake documentary. I want to see how Diamond Dallas Page got him out of the rut.
So you haven't watched it yet?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying it looks pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Just because we know how fucked up wrestlers get. And
well, they all die.
They drop like flies.
It's like a death sentence.
Yeah, totally.
Wrestling in the NFL. Well, the NFL guys don't drop dead as easily, but they at least like get all fucked up.
Yeah, they lose their brain.
There's three things in America that just destroys people. It's WWE, the NFL, and any sort of service, like going to war kind of thing.
Yeah, and Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Which you could boil down to fucking speedballs.
Yeah. I guess it's drugs.
I wonder what a speedball fucking feels like. Have you ever done a speedball?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. It's not an actual ball.
No, I get that. Right, I get it.
All it is doing heroin and coke at the same time.
Yeah, but that's fucking crazy.
Fucking
like
awesome.
I won't even drink fucking vodka and Red Bull. Like that freaks me out. There's no way now I'm going to do heroin and coke at the same time. And then you always hear, like, my whole life, I always just, speedballs always just meant death because you heard somebody die, and it was always because they're doing this, which makes sense. Your heart's speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down.
Yeah, it's scary.
But is it the best feeling thing in the world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
not the best feeling thing in the world. It's just in the drug land it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, obviously people keep doing it. That's the whole fucking thing. So Jake the Snake was a crackhead?
Yeah, big crackhead.
Rehabilitated.
Big alcoholic.
Uh-huh.
Was just Jake the Snake with a giant belly. Was smoking crack in the back of a pickup with Hacksaw Duggan and Iron Sheik.
Really?
Yeah, that was like their triad of crack smokers. That was their crew. Rolling deep with Duggan.
It's weird that wrestlers like even hang out, like, but I guess it makes sense. Like if band guys hang out with each other, comedians hang out with each other. So wrestlers,
but look at that
like
crew though.
Yeah, it's
the
fucking
Sheik and
nuts.
Duggan. You know you're in a bad rut when that's your crew.
Yeah, totally.
Pass the crack, tough guy.
What was the Iron Sheik story about him doing mushrooms and?
Oh my god, that is the best story. I forgot what it was. Larkin tells it.
Yeah, so I guess basically what it is that like a friend of a friend or a brother of a friend or something.
Yeah, was a wrestling promoter.
Was a small time wrestling promoter, right? So like this thing where they rent out like high school gymnasiums and they'll put a ring in there and they'll have like C-level celebrities like wrestlers come in and they promote it and all that stuff. And they were doing one. I guess the Sheik was the headliner or whatever. And so they were having all the scrubs, like all the jobbers, come out and have their matches. And the Sheik was backstage, and he was asking this promoter guy to go get him weed, right?
Yeah,
right. So he was like, can you find weed? Can you find weed? And he was like, I don't know. Let me see. So he made a bunch of calls, and he wasn't able to find weed, but he found mushrooms. So he came back with like an eighth of shrooms, and he gave it to Sheik, and he was like, these are the only drugs I could find. So Sheik started eating these.
Gobble them up.
Eating these mushrooms, and started tripping backstage while the jobbers were having their matches, And I guess apparently, and tell me if I'm telling this wrong, but
from here out, I forget the crazy thing he does.
Well, what happened was they were in the middle of one of their regular matches with the regular dudes, and the Sheik just came running out from backstage and dove into, like, you know how they do in wrestling, like the guy comes in and sabotages it, but that wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. Like he just got so jacked up off of shrooms that he fucking ran in, dove in, and just started kicking these like dudes' asses.
Is that what he did?
Yeah, apparently.
I feel like there was something else he did.
That's the whole fucking story. Anyway, and then I mean, you could tell because he's now gone on to be just like a giant like maniac that everybody like follows on social media.
Yeah,
and all that stuff, right?
He's like a Mike Tyson comedy act type thing.
Oh, by the way, have you watched Mike Tyson Mysteries on Adult Swim?
You told me about it last time.
Watch it fucking immediately.
Yeah.
Anybody at home, watch that shit immediately. Okay,
I gotta see it.
I have nothing else to say about it. Just watch it.
No, I was just saying about Jake and how fucked up those poor wrestlers get. Being on the road like that, doing all those drugs and.
It's a tough life. I mean, it's like, okay, so you know how life is in a band when you're traveling around, right? And then take that, but instead of going on a stage every night and playing music, you have to go in and physically get beat up because yes, wrestling is fake. But they're still taking fucking hits, and they're still taking falls, and they still have to look all greased up and big, and they're probably taking steroids, and of course jacked up on any sort of fucking speed that's coming around, So like you could almost that lifestyle has to be so fucking taxing on your body,
no doubt.
That it's insane, and all those wrestlers that when we were children, I don't know anybody about these dudes now, like fucking. CM Punk or any of that. Like I don't know any of those dudes. Even though I have some friends that are still like totally into it, which I find weird. But when we were kids, like these guys were like larger than life guys. So not only did they have to just like be physically fit and beating each other up all the time, but then they also had to be Macho Man and Hogan and fucking they were like every tier it was acting, there was comedy, there was fucking physicality, like it's a fucking crazy thing.
Yeah, and they had their own personal problems with each other.
Sure, yeah.
And backstage, which added to the stage life, and I'm sure got confusing at times. Right. If you hate somebody's guts, you find out he's fucking your wife, and then you got to go be his tag team partner.
Right?
That's tough shit.
No, yeah, right. And which happens and everything. Wrestling is a very weird. The fact that wrestling even became popular is very weird. Like
it became a staged event. If it wasn't just Bruno Sammartino versus superstar Billy Graham, it became a fucking movie.
And then after that, because when we were children. We thought wrestling was real.
Yeah, like when they never crossed that line.
When we were very young, what they refer to as kayfabe in the wrestling world was never broken.
What's kayfabe?
So basically, that's the whole keeping the illusion real. So like, so like they never broke kayfabe. They never talked about the fact that it was fake. Like that shit.
And if you did, you got bitch slapped by that dude.
Yeah, right. But they never did. And then all of a sudden, at some point,
that's an open hand smack.
At some point, I guess it just got so big and everybody knew it that they had to address it. And then you thought that was going to sink it. But that made it so much fucking bigger.
Yeah.
That like now dudes like I know that are our age or even younger or whatever or even older that are into wrestling, they're more into the soap opera aspect of it than they are the actual like matches and shit. And they're also more into the backstage shit, like, oh, Triple H, doesn't like this guy or about, and shit like that.
It's like a reality show.
Yeah, right. It became a reality show.
Yeah.
And it made it bigger than it ever could have when we were just watching rock and wrestling fucking cartoons and having our stretchy dolls and shit and really thinking that the fucking Iron Sheik existed. Like he was a really some dude from the desert who wanted to take fucking Hulk Hogan down.
Yeah.
Which, and that's why I believe that wrestling has continued, the demographic of wrestling, like the young people continued to watch it as they got older because they were able just to grow with it that way.
Exactly. Well, it's the greatest analogy I've ever made in my life is
Oh, really?
Yes. My analogy is wrestling of our generation to our generation of hip hop as what WWE is to rap now.
Okay.
So let me elaborate.
Please do.
You have the WWF.
Right.
The original days, the days when, like you said, wrestling was almost considered real. and you have hip hop when rap was good, when it was really hip hop, when it wasn't a lot of show and program. It was downright gritty rap. It was
Right.
hip hop. Dudes really from the fucking ghetto
Yeah.
rapping about real life.
Yeah.
Then you have the WWF transform into the WWE. They call it entertainment.
Right. Worldwide entertainment. Or
Whatever it is.
World wrestling
It's
entertainment,
considered
whatever it is.
entertainment. And that's how rap evolved. Rap isn't really hip hop from the ghetto anymore. It's these little gay boys, and it's not even music anymore. It's just, I consider just entertainment.
Right.
You can't classify it as a type of music. So just call it entertainment, because there's nothing musical about it.
Well, you're talking about mainstream shit.
Right.
Right. And which is, you could say that for anything. Like we had a conversation, I think it was last podcast, about punk versus pop punk. It's the same thing, you know? Like Fear is a fucking punk band, but Blink-182 were just some fucking like semi-wealthy kids from wherever that decided to make, you know, like that kind of, and it's the same kind of thing that's going on with rap now. Yeah. But everything has to start from somewhere. You know, so like we're never gonna have another. Well, even NWA is a little debatable, but like we're never gonna have like another Biggie Small, like somebody who actually came from that shit and like gets big, because dudes just start from a different level and go up from there.
And it's tough, because even if you get someone that is, you know, that has lived that life and is as good of a rapper, you could place them in that era, it doesn't have the same effect on you. You know, like if someone came out now and was as good as Biggie Smalls and was as good of a rapper, it wouldn't have the same effect, because we already had Biggie.
Right.
You can't do it again.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that, because I think about it the way that I look at like rock music, and I think that does, like, a lot of times bands that benefit from coming from the earlier bands are like become better bands and offer more, because they're building on top of maybe the simple thing. Like, okay, let's take rap for a second. All right. So like when rap came out, it was fucking lame. Well, my name is, and then I'm here to say, right? That shit fucking sucks. And no matter how much of a purist you are and everything, like, it's kind of hard to listen to. And then that got built upon, and then you got, you know, you got the Beastie Boys in Paul's Boutique. You got NWA. You got. Well,
you got to use Paul's Boutique, because before that it was
my
name's Ad Rock, and I'm here.
Yeah, no, totally. License to Ill was.
But you know what? The Beastie Boys kept that pretty much going till the end.
Yeah,
they were always
I know,
same rhyme scheme,
right? But I'm just talking about like Grandmaster, not Grandmaster Flash, the Furious Five, and like Run DMC and that early shit. It's kind of hard to listen to, you know. And then we benefited from that, and then guys built on top of that, you know. And
then the '90s were just. It exploded.
And then, but you know, but to say on the 90s, like, there were like gangster dudes coming in from the streets, but there were also like kind of art dudes coming in and making artistic versions of rap, like let's say like Tribe Called Quest or something like that. You know, they weren't like just fucking like crazy drug dealing maniacs off the street.
I like to call that conscious rap.
Okay. Like diggable, what is it? Diggable planets.
Yeah, it's like that conscious shit. Like, you know, use your brain, nigga.
We be the rap what key be the lock.
Yeah, it's like, come on, nigga, use that brain. You got one.
The intelligent gangster.
Exactly.
No, but I'm saying like that. So there was a lot of that too. You know, like I don't know.
I think that was a separate class,
right?
You know, like I'm talking about that street rap.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it. I just think it's hard for me to think that when you're older, when you're past your 20s or whatever, and you're criticizing younger music, it just really just comes off as we're just old and we don't understand it.
That's true.
Because what's happening right now is there's some kid who's listening to whatever the fuck, Wiz Khalifa, or even that might be old now. I don't even know. Like whatever these young people are listening to now. And now when they're our age, and they're sitting in a studio somewhere and doing their podcast, they're going to be like, this shit now has nothing to do with that, you know, and it just continues that way.
Of course. But when you break it down to just substance, it's obvious. No matter what your age, no matter what you grew up listening to, it's still the same substance of what you're hearing. Because we're not sitting here saying, oh, the original rap, that's where it was at. Because like you said, that original rap sucked. It was, you know, hip, hop, hibbida, you know, there's nothing that amazingly, you know, stylistic about that.
Right.
They were just finding out what it was.
Yeah.
And then 90s took off with it.
Yeah,
And
right.
It was amazing, amazing rappers, you know, but the storytelling, putting together amazing words, because there are so many of these rappers now, I can't even describe what it is. I would imitate a rhyme scheme right now if I could, but I can't specify just one.
Yeah.
But it's gotten so lazy.
Okay.
I think it's really gotten lazy, and even you get so many kids now that are fans of rap, true fans of rap, that do like what is being put out now, but then look back and they can't even deny that the 90s were the best.
Well, you're right, because I mean, my ex-girlfriend's younger brother, who was like maybe like 15 or 16 when we started dating or something like that. I remember one day he was hanging out with his friends, and like we were at her parents' house because they were gone for the weekend, and we had to watch the house because the kid was like 15 or 16 and I had to make sure he wasn't having a party. But of course he still had some friends over, and I remember going out in the backyard and they were all smoking a blunt listening to Biggie.
Of course.
And I thought that I was weird, and I even said, like, you guys like this shit? And they're like, yeah, like he's the so I mean, there's always going to be guys that are going to be the same way that I listen to the Beatles.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't around when the Beatles were fucking around.
Like Biggie's timeless.
Yeah, right. Biggie's timeless, Tupac's timeless.
Like
you
Biggie
know?
can't get old.
Right,
It's
exactly.
impossible. He's always going to be good.
And there's
Because he wasn't a fad.
yeah, okay. So what do you think about, like, let's say somebody like Kanye, right? He's older than us, but
No, he's not.
He's not?
No.
He's not.
But he's about our age.
Okay, so all right, so he's our age. And but he's well wrapped. He's well into this new age of rap. Mm-hmm. Do you think that he's a good MC, or do you think that's all bullshit?
Oh God, it's tough. I with Kanye, I flip flop because it's so tough to not hate his fucking guts. And he has a lot of shit that's really annoying, like that. Come on, man, I hate that shit. But he's good.
Yeah,
he's
okay,
fucking good.
Right. So that's what I mean. There's people out there that are doing good shit, you know, and there always will be. I think what you're saying, and again, I'm just playing devil's advocate, but I think what you're saying is the shit that you hear on the radio, which is always going to suck. The shit you hear on the radio has never been good. Sans a few bands and a few rap groups and stuff like that. But what you hear on like pop radio and all, you know, it's just never been good. And you can't judge the scene from that. I'm sure there's some fucking like underground dudes that are doing like really good shit, like POS or, you know, like those dudes.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying that.
Yeah,
I'm talking about 90s rap pretty much.
Okay.
Because even that shit was on the radio.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Yeah.
You know, like it was a huge time for rap. I think any true fan of rap would agree with me. Even though the fads do come and go and the radio does suck and all the things you could say about it, but you get to that mid-90s hip-hop and that was its heyday.
That is definitely the sweet spot for sure. 100% for sure. Yes. I do agree with that. I do agree with that.
There was a lot of underground shit going on, but even the mainstream shit was amazing.
Well, but then you also had like like Tone Loc, and you had like fucking what was that? You want it? You got just bust a move. Like you had shit like that too, which wasn't amazing. Yeah. Like we look back at it fondly, or Positive K. I got a man.
Yeah, but that wasn't rap, was it?
You could get a ragamuffin. Yeah, of course that was rap. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there was.
I'm Daddy Longstroke and your man's Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, Coolio.
Yeah, right, Coolio. Like there was a lot, but
clown rap.
We see that as like we recognize that it's corny, but we also have like kind of a fondness to it because it was the kids. Sound of our time.
Yeah.
But if Coolio came out right now, and or whatever, or Positive K or any of those guys came out right now,
Positive K.
We would be like, what? This is the fucking stupidest shit in the world. So I feel like a lot of those guys on the radio are that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Positive K. That shit was funny.
I got a man.
You got a what?
Which
How
a
long
man
you
gotta
had
do.
that problem?
And then I remember hearing that song on the radio, and then I saw the video, and I was like, oh, Positive K doesn't have that problem because nobody's fucking Positive K. Not only you're not getting single women, you're not getting anybody. Relax. Let her hang out with her ragamuffin. Let me ask you a question here, and I wanted to ask you this early, and now we're getting to the end of the episode. But what do you? Okay, I was talking about this earlier today, and I just want to get your opinion on it. What do you value more, time or money?
Time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but
you can't use me because money doesn't mean shit to me.
Me either. But would you not argue that in our society, money is the more important asset?
Absolutely.
But does that not make any fucking sense? Okay, so psychologically, there's a thing that that you could do where you project yourself on your deathbed, right? And you look back in time and you think whatever you regret or what did you do, blah blah blah, right? So I've been trying to do that lately. And I keep looking, trying to picture myself on my deathbed, if I'm afforded that luxury, to look back on my life. And,
why, you want to be in a deathbed?
Well, yeah, it would be nice. I would like to be able to reflect before, instead of getting hit by a fucking train, Alan Wrench style. Yeah, I would like to.
You mean El Duce?
Oh, I'm sorry, El
Alan
Duce
Wrench is
style.
alive and well, my friend. I checked out his.
Not
Twitter.
after this podcast. He's going downtown, Julie Brown. Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, to just look back, I guess I'm at a crossroads in my life where I'm trying to figure out what's more important to me and what I need to fucking do. And I keep coming back to the thing that my time, the way that I spend my time in life, is so much more important than the amount of money that I make.
That's a no-brainer.
I hate the fact that you're agreeing with me on this because I really wanted to have a conversation about it.
We can still have a conversation about it.
Yeah, but I look at a lot of people that I know in my life, and they're so willing to give up such big chunks of their life in order to make a certain amount of money. And if you're doing something that you enjoy, then yeah, fine, that's a no-brainer, But if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, like if you work a job where you wake up in the morning and you fucking dread going to that job for 8 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours or whatever the fuck, and then but you justify it by saying, my
paycheck's gonna be huge,
and I could spend the weekend doing whatever I want, and I could go on 2 vacations a year and stuff like that, right? Which all sounds great on paper, and I've felt victim to that. I've done that before in my life. For a very long time, but when you do this exercise of I'm on my deathbed, I'm looking back at my life, I can't get away of the fact of the whole thing of making somebody else money, and just so you could get your little fucking part of it, just so you could go on 2 vacations a year, just so you could spend Saturday night at the bar or whatever. I'm just starting to see the bigger picture where all that time that you spend working. I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going. I
totally agree with you.
I was hoping that when I asked you that question, you were going to say money.
Yeah, well, I think
money,
you
money,
know
money,
me a little bit better than that.
Yeah, well.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, I think we've talked about this before, but to use a Bill Burr quote, I think I said it to you last week, but Bill Burr has said, there's nothing wrong with sleeping on a futon in your 30s if you're chasing something you love.
Right. Because
then or else you'd be laying in a king-size bed. It's better than laying in a king-size bed, laying next to somebody who you're wondering why you married them, with 3 kids you're trying to get away from, waking up to work at a job you hate, laying in your king-size bed, dreaming of being on a futon by yourself.
Right. Which is a pretty genius fucking thing, And it's true, but it's weird because I'm in this transition in my life, where I'm really trying to set up something that I enjoy doing. We do this, which is great. And if this ever took off or something like that, it would be a dream come true, and that'd be amazing. But I'm also doing other things that I really enjoy, and I'm making money with something that I'm not going to sit there and say that it's a passion, but at least it's something that doesn't bother me like my old job bothered me. And I get up in the morning and I'm not like oh man, I'm going to kill myself, I got to go to this fucking job or whatever. But so much of our society in America is just willing to succeed to the fact of I'm going to waste 10 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week, just so I could have 3 or 4 hours a week of pleasure, you know, but like that kind of thing. And but I don't know if I'm going crazy is what I'm saying. Like,
well, because people define themselves as having a good time as by having a lot of money, which makes sense because you could do more with money,
right?
But do more how? You know, I've been in both ends of the spectrum, okay? Because I was with somebody, a girlfriend, whose family was very wealthy, and they showed me a lot of really cool shit.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that it wasn't fucking awesome. You know, I was treated VIP at the Bellagio, which I never thought I'd be able to experience in my life. And I felt like fucking Jay-Z. It was amazing. I won't say that that's
You're just running around like, started from the bottom now, eh?
For real. It was unbelievable. Cutting lines, you know, having butlers and shit.
By cutting lines, do you mean cutting in line or doing a bunch of coke?
Cutting the line, then cutting lines after I cut the line. But it was it was an amazing experience. I won't say it was the greatest experience of my life.
Right.
You know, even though a lot of people would. If I laid that whole week out for you, you would say, how is that not the greatest week of your life? But there's so many other things in life that you don't have to pay for.
Right.
But people don't see that shit. People just see, I got a lot of money, I could buy a lot of shit, I could do a lot of things, and then be so blinded by that shit that they ignore all the other great things that happen in their life.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. And I think that I wasn't like, when I was working like the job that I couldn't stand for 12 years, it wasn't like this was, you know, it wasn't like I was even making $100,000 a year. Like, it wasn't like I was working some job where I was like really cleaning up. I mean,
blowing two people?
Yes, blowing two people at the same time. I guess really cleaning up is celebrating that way. But yeah, like but at the same time, I fell into that thing of, well, at least I'm comfortable. You know, I can afford this. I could pay rent. I could do this. And then over this last year that I've done a lot of reflection and like really looking at things, I look back at all that time as a fucking waste, like just a complete fucking waste.
Yeah,
you know,
waking up, going to work, coming home.
Yeah, right. And I was having this conversation today, and that's what made me ask you about it. Is like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's a very weird a stage, I think, that everybody might come to. I guess some people are just like, fuck it, this is what I do. Some people are lucky enough to do something that they love for a living, and then that's obviously a no-brainer. And I'm sure they still have their struggles. Some people are lucky enough to be born into a wealthy family, and I'm sure they still have their struggles. But I think most of the people in the world are stuck in this crossroads of compromising their time and their energy for something that just to afford themselves some sort of comfortability and a little bit of fun, where I don't see that is the way that life should go. You know, I see life as being, maybe you're having more time to yourself, whether or not you're being able to afford everything. But at the end of the day, you look back at it and you say, I did what I wanted to do. I didn't just work my ass off to make some fucking corporation richer and shit like that. You know?
Yeah, totally. And what you were just explaining, the big word in there was struggles. And it made me think that everyone's different, you know, and everyone has their own struggles. And I think it goes by the way your life has gone.
Okay.
So I think if you take the person that has been through so much bad shit in their life, that their struggles to them, well, let's put it this way. Struggles to someone that has had everything handed to them and has always lived a good life and has never had to worry in their life, their struggles wouldn't be shit to somebody that has had a lot of really bad problems and have gone through some crazy struggles. So what the rich dude and the silver spoon dude are crying over would be a laugh to the person that has really struggled.
Right.
And the person that really struggled can really appreciate the smaller things, whereas the rich silver spoon dude can't.
Right.
Their struggles are just bullshit, and it's just all revolves around money.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, right. So, like, their struggles would be, you know, like, oh, fucking...
I missed a credit card payment.
Well, not even that. Or like, oh, I didn't get invited to this party or something like that. Where other dudes struggle. And it's all on levels. Like, we're middle-class people, you know? Like I would consider myself, quote-unquote, struggling right now, like financially at least, or, you know, but at the same time, I'm not living on the street. I'm not fucking like having to work some menial job just to try to get by or anything like that kind of thing. So there's definitely levels of that, but I just think it's just ingrained in people, and I know that I'm wine drunk and I'm just getting like fucking totally out there, but I just think that it's ingrained in people from the beginning that you go to high school, you fucking, and then the craziest thing that happens in our society is that people ask you to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life when you're a fucking teenager.
Yeah.
You know, like you get into college at 18, 19 years old and they're like, choose your path, young one.
Yeah.
It's the nuttiest thing in the world. And then you go through this, you pay tons of money to go to this fucking college that is supposed to get you this fucking job. And then you go and you get...
But all it does is set you back 5 years.
Right. And then if you're lucky, you go and get this job at some corporation.
If you know somebody.
Right. At this fucking corporation to make however amount of money per year, whether it's big or small or indifferent. And then you just plow through that for fucking 20 or 30 years until you're in your fucking 60s. And then one day you're like, what the fuck did I do in my life? Right. So that is like the existential fucking craziness that I'm going through right now. Mm-hmm. And I had a conversation today that really just brought that all up. And I've really been thinking about it. And that exercise of, and I'm sure people at home are listening to this right now and just being like, this is nuts. But that exercise of projecting yourself on your deathbed and looking back at, say, 80 years of life, and what are you proud of and what do you regret? That really changes things for me. I didn't think that it would, but I've been thinking about it a lot, and it really does.
Yeah,
so,
I can see that. I'm a big believer in, you know, if you're happy with the day you just spent, just like it's the oldest saying in the world, but you go day by day. That's what I do.
Yeah, no, right, and of course that's the way it goes. But when you know, life is like life is random. It is. You don't have much control over what happens, but you can also kind of, if you have a focus, you could kind of point the needle in a little bit of a direction. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you have a certain, if you have some convictions or certain morals or something like that, or you know a tiny bit of a direction you can go in, you could at least struggle to point the fucking rowboat in that direction, and then hopefully the waves don't tip you over.
Right.
And so I guess the big struggle of life would be what direction you're going to point that rowboat in. And I guess that's what I'm dealing with, and what this whole thing opened up or whatever. But it's I don't know. It's interesting living in America and dealing with that, like dealing with this society and how money is paramount to everything. I was a victim. You know, I was part of it, and I'm still part of it because you have to make money to survive.
Right, we'll always be part of it.
But you sit there and
on
you're
an island,
right? But then you just sit there and you're just like, oh man, like I'm wasting my life, you know. And we're getting to the age, and this might be part of me, you know. I'm going to be turning another year older in a month, you know. So like, I think I might always get this weird neurotic shit going on as I get closer to my next year of life.
Yeah.
But you know, it's that kind of thing where I'm looking at 36, thinking, okay, if I'm lucky, maybe I got another 40 years. You know, like how am I going to fucking spend those 40 years?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't have an answer, and that's why I asked you, but it's just something that's been on my mind all day.
Oh, it's a good thing to think about.
And as I drank more red wine, it just came out and out and out. So I don't know. It's I'm definitely not going to smoke crack like Jake the Snake.
Yeah, no, that's
and
not,
I'm definitely
not the answer.
I'm definitely not going to marry a rock star and then pay somebody named Alan Wrench to kill him like Courtney Love.
Although that's not a bad idea. It's
yeah,
just
I guess.
rolling in the deep.
If I could find like somebody that I don't mind, like if I could go like marry Avril Lavigne, I don't mind taking her out.
Oh no, I'd fucking kill that bitch.
I'll go find one of the Spice Girls. I'll go find Baby Spice and then just fucking and take her out. So I don't know. Anyway,
actually, I'd kill Sporty. I hated Sporty Spice. That cross-eyed one that always did kicks.
I bet you I could guess your favorite Spice Girl right now.
Yo, hell yeah.
Scary Spice.
Yeah.
Because you like the blacks.
Yeah, the black one.
The black one, he do nothing. Anyway, thank you for listening to this podcast where we just rambled about a bunch of shit. Nice shot. Finally,
made my first one.
If you're so inclined, follow us on Twitter at awkwardhi5. And
Reviews.
if you want to talk to us about anything or anything that you want us to talk about on the air.
Yeah, we want some answers about those nail beds, babies.
Oh, yeah. Nobody has emailed us about the nail beds yet.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Nobody. You can email us at awkwardhighfivepodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook and we're everywhere else. And otherwise, we will see you in a few short days. Thank you.
Hey, lover, where did you go? I'm not high and I'm not low. If I knew a breakup, man, I can't break you up and taste you again. With love, with breath, wanna smoke you up. Even though my chest hurts, smoke you up. Get more, pay less, wanna smoke you up. Inhale my best and I'm out of love. With love, with breath, wanna smoke you up. Even though my chest hurts, smoke you up. Get more, pay less, wanna smoke you up.
Thanks for listening to the Awkward High Five podcast. For more episodes, visit awkwardhigh5.com.